Hi, this is Linda Noss, and this is the fourth video in the Swing series. Last time we left, I had shown you how to create global variables. These are global because they're seen throughout the entire program. And I went off and we got the button listener class and put it in here. Now we want to use it. So let's see how it's used in other places. What we want to do is we want to click on our button. When we click on our button, we want the computer to grab the information out of this text box and then down here say hello and whatever the name is that they type in. So there's a few different things we have to do. We have to figure out how to grab something out of a text box. We've already connected the button to the button listener class down here by simply saying add action listener and then the new button listener. So it knows, the computer now knows that this, when we push or when we have some kind of action on the button, it's going to execute this code down here. So let's just see how it was done. We have this other program called Celsius Convert, kind of neat little program here. When I run it, I can type in the Celsius temperature, and when I hit enter, it converts the Celsius into Fahrenheit. So how did that work? Because essentially what we want to do here is we want to have the person type something into the text box. This one doesn't have a button on it, but when the button is clicked, it appears, the answer appears down here. So this has got a lot of the same kind of ideas. So let's go and look at Celsius Convert. Celsius Convert, again, I have some global variables up here that I've created, some labels and text fields. And then I have my main method right here. And I have my frame, and then I have a primary panel, set equal to orange, preferred size. Then I have a few different things. Now FAH is a text field where the answers will appear, and CEL is the text field where the user gets to type in their number to be converted into a Fahrenheit. So what we're going to do here is just kind of look and see how that was done. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at how the computer got the information out of the text box. So if you come down here, and this one's called temp listener instead of button listener because there was no button on that. I had to create a temp listener, and you can see that it's really the same thing, add action listener, new temp listener. So essentially I created some variables here I needed, an integer for Fahrenheit and Celsius, and then a string variable. This looks promising. A string variable called getTemp, where it grabs, it gets the text out of the Celsius text field. So that looks like something we can use. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and I'm going to bring it into here. But instead of getTemp, I'm not going to call it CEL because that's not the name of our label, our text box, excuse me. What is the name of our text box? It's TXT name. So I'm going to grab that and put it in here. So there's my TXT name, and it's going to get the text. And then the next thing I want it to do is I simply want it to put the information into the label. So how did the Celsius do that? So the Celsius thing went through a few little things it had to do here. Essentially, this is kind of interesting right here. When you grab something out of a text box, it's text or a string. So in order to make it into a number, and we've done this before with other things, you have to parse it. So it got the temporary information out of the text box, and then it took that and parsed it into an integer and created a new variable here called celtemp. And then we use celtemp in our Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion, which you probably recognize because you've probably done this in your science classes or whatnot. And then we went ahead and printed FAtemp into a text box, but notice that this is an integer, and text boxes like to have text. So what I did was I took the integer and I changed it to a string and printed it out. Another way we could have done that, and it's a little shortcut, this is the official way, but another way we could have done it is simply done something like this. And it's kind of trickery. It tricks the computer into thinking that it's a string simply because you put a plus sign and then a blank set of quotes. So it changes the whole thing into a string. So you can get away with doing that also. But officially, that would be the way to do it right here. Okay, so we're going to use this idea here by setting some text into the label that into the text box that we're interested in setting it. So essentially, we're going to do this. Let's go find the name of that text box. Oh, it's a label. Well, a label is a little bit different than a text box. Let's see what we can do here. If we can do this, I may have to change that into a text box, but it's LBL greeting. Go back and see how they did this. Fa.setText. So LBL greeting dot, is there set text here? Set text. And then I want to take the person's name, which is, I'm going to change this to get name, because that makes more sense. So here's that. And now when we run it, let's see what happens here. And there it is. So it worked just fine with the label. So basically that's how you convert or change up something dynamically. This is dynamic because if I type in anything here, hit click me, it's going to change that up. So what I want you to do is I want you to change your program to look like this. And then when we come back, I'll have some other programs for you to try. See you later. Bye.